The Peripheral section of System Setup allows you to configure various hardware peripherals, such as your Windows printer, label printer, RF tag, and burn station setup. This is important in ensuring that AMS-TAC is able to communicate with the hardware that you use. In order to make changes to the system setup, you will need to log into AMS-TAC as an administrator. First, we'll take a look at the Windows printer setup. This allows you to configure your default laser printer for printing reports or non-adhesive labels. To begin, select System, Setup, Windows Printer Setup. A window will pop up, which allows you to select a default Windows printer, just like it would in the Windows control panel. You can make changes in this section that will apply to your default Windows printer. Next, let's take a look at the label printer setup. This allows you to configure a label printer if you have one that works with AMS-TAC. A label printer allows you to print MSLs on adhesive paper. Note that you do not need to have a label printer to print MSLs. You can use a standard laser printer instead. To begin, select Label Printer Setup. Choose your printer from the drop-down list of supported label printers. Next, select the correct COM port for your label printer. The other fields will default to the typical settings and should not need to be configured. For a more detailed description of what each field does, please see our help page by pressing F1 on the label printer setup screen. Towards the bottom of the screen is a checkbox for default MSL printer. You may check this box if you want all MSLs to go to this label printer. You may use the Print Test button to test out your label printer before exiting. When you are finished, click the Save to Disk button. The next section is RF Tag Setup. This configures AMS-TAC to read and write savvy radio frequency tags. To begin, select RF Tag Setup. First, choose your RF equipment. Many users have a dock and cable. Next, select the appropriate bus type for your equipment. Input the serial number that is located on the bottom of your device. Select the serial port. This will be the COM port that your device is connected to. The read check will default according to your selections. When you are finished, click the Save to Disk button. Next, you'll need to configure the burn station setup. This allows you to send RF tag data to the ITV server. Note that you must use valid settings or your data will not be accepted by the ITV server. To begin, select Burn Station Setup. The ITV registration ID is the MAC address of your computer's network card. It is automatically pulled into System Setup and displayed for troubleshooting purposes. The ITV server field should be set to HTTPS-tip to allow RF tag data to be transmitted to the ITV server. If your computer isn't connected to the internet, set the ITV server field to File. TIP files are saved in an Upload folder, typically located on your hard drive under C, AMS-TAC, Upload. You can send these files to the ITV server via email using another computer with internet connectivity. The burn station name should be your location, followed by a W and a sequence number of 1. Please note that no spaces are allowed. If you have more than one burn station, you would use the next sequential number after the W, such as W2, W3, etc. The location should be the name of your worksite. The description must include the worksite, state, unit, building number, and AMS. The DODAC is your Department of Defense activity address code. Input the latitude, longitude, and altitude of your location. Next, input the Zulu time offset. This should be the time zone of the nearest major city. Choose the appropriate ITV server by selecting a server in the drop-down box. Input the POC's name, phone number, and email address. Note that if you're a Marine Corps site and you want to send data to the LTM ITV server, you must check the Marines Only box and choose the appropriate LTM ITV server. Check the Auto Send Tag Data to ITV box if you want to send this registration when you burn your first RF tag. When you are finished, click the Save to Disk button. If you are completely finished configuring the system setup, select Close to return to the main screen. You have now finished configuring AMS to work with peripheral hardware. Please see our other videos to learn more about the other sections of system setup.